Folks, it's 1 p.m. on Monday. It's that time. Today, we're going to talk about Bluffton. We're going to talk about Palmetto Dunes. We're going to talk about what's going on in Windmill Harbour. And we're going to wrap it all up with Hilton Head Island as a whole. So please stay for the entire show. Let's first, before we get started, let you know that the full calendar, so you know when your community is going to come up, is available on Prud'hommeTeam.com. The full calendar and full schedule. Let's get started with Bluffton. Bluffton this week, we had 11 new listings come on the market in Bluffton. Last week we had 22. And by comparison, this week, last year, we had 41. Year to date in Bluffton, 62 listings have come on the market so far this year. And at this point last year, we were at 120, roughly half. The sales, this week we had 13 sales. Last week we had 28. And again, by comparison, this week last year, 24. Another pretty big week in terms of difference year over year. The year-to-date number for sales in Bluffton, 90 so far this year. And at this point last year in Bluffton, we were at 91. So we're pretty close, but we're not going to stay that way, because if you look at the pendings, you'll see what's coming. 26 properties went under contract this last week in Bluffton, 22 the week prior, and by comparison this week last year, 46, pretty big difference. Year to date, 89 properties have gone under contract in Bluffton so far in 2022, and at this date in 2021, it was 129. So you can see that big difference, that disparity, like that's the first 3 weeks of this year. That disparity is going to affect the closed sales that we're reporting and create a wider year-to-date spread as time goes forward. The average selling price in Bluffton, $628,000, and at this point last year it was $530,000. A very nice 18% increase in the average selling price in Bluffton. Days on the market, 64, and at this point last year we were at 119. So that is Bluffton. And now Palmetto Dunes. Palmetto Dunes inventory Palmetto Dunes and Windmill Harbour, we're just going to do year to date. 13 properties have come on the market so far in 2022, and at this point last year it was 24. Pretty big difference. Excuse me. The sales, 11 properties have closed so far in 2022, and through this point last year we were at 16. Under contracts, 18 properties have gone under contract so far this year. And through this date last year, it was 29. Again, you can see the trend. The numbers are off anywhere between 25 and 40% across the board in Palmetto Dunes. The good news is the average selling price is $1.5 million, and at this point last year it was $607,000. I'm not saying that prices have doubled in the last year. We just didn't have any big sales last year through the first 3 weeks. That's what the difference is. In cumulative days on the market, 87, and at this point last year in Palmetto Dunes, it was 63. Again, that was more of a function of inventory. Windmill Harbour. This year-to-date in Windmill Harbour, we have had 2 properties come on the market, and through this point last year, it was 6, quite a bit less. The sales, we've had 4 properties closed so far this year, and at this point last year, it was only 1. That's pretty cool. The under contracts, we've had 7 properties go under contract in Windmill Harbour so far in 2022, and at this point last year, it was 7. The average selling price, $572,000 is the average selling price, and at this point last year, it was $1.1 million. But folks, again, we have a small sample size that we're looking at because the year has only just begun. I don't believe for 1 second that the market, the average selling price in Windmill Harbour is half of what it was last year. The numbers just have to catch up. And then finally, for Windmill Harbour, cumulative days on the market, 200, and at this point last year it was at 16. Pretty significant difference, but again, I think you're going to see those numbers flip-flop as we continue on in the year. Before we finish up with Hilton Head Island, this is a video that we shot a couple weeks ago that they put out this week that I didn't want to do, but it's got 1,000 views. And so they want me to ask you to go and see if you can make it 2,000. So go and try and make it 2,000 for us. Make it 5,000 for us, what the hell? Hilton Head Island. We had 33 new listings come on the market, Hilton Head Island this week. Last week we had 37, and by comparison this week last year, 78. Huge difference. The year-to-date inventory numbers, 118 properties have come on the market so far this year compared to 190 last year. Again, really significant numbers. Sales 28, last week 31, and this week last year 42. Those numbers didn't make sense to me, sorry. So it looks like we had 28 this week, 42 last week, and 31 this same week last year. Sorry, those numbers got flipped around when they came through. Sales, we had 119 sales so far in 2022 compared to 168 at this point last year, 30% difference. Pendings, we had 60 properties go under contract this week. We had 64 last week, and this week last year we had 92. So almost every number seems to be off around 30% when we look at the Hilton Head Island numbers. Year to date, 172 properties have gone under contract on Hilton Head Island compared to 227 at this point last year, 24% difference. The average selling price, $766,000 right now, and at this point last year, it was $562,000, 36% increase. In cumulative days on the market, 43 days on the market is the average amount of time it takes for a property to sell on Hilton Head Island, and at this point last year it was at 60. That is it. Thank you so much for joining us again today. Make sure you follow us on the Prud'homme Team, at Prud'homme Team. Thank you. See you next week.